Hello and welcome, everyone. Thank you for joining us, to those of you on campus, as well as to those of you who are joining us online. My name is Heather Torres. I'm the Program Director for the Entertainment Business Master's Program here at Full Sail University. And we're in an amazing session today, a discussion with Demo and Ric Viers, Finding Success After Full Sail. So a little bit about the background of our two guests. Both of them are Hall of Fame inductees, so amazing Hall of Famers. Demo is a producer, engineer, mixer, and creative director who have worked with some of the biggest names in the business. Madonna, Jay-Z, Justin Timberlake, Lady Gaga, and many, many others. We have Ric Viers, who's a sound designer, author, sound effects producer, and owner of Sound Effects FM. I'm sorry, soundeffects.com. Sorry about that. And he, in the last 20 years, he's made sound effects for some of the biggest films and television shows that there are. So please put your hands together to our amazing guests, Ric and Demo.
Welcome. Well, a lot of familiar faces. This is nice. Folks, this is my good friend, Ric Viers. Give him a... Right. You know...
And this is my cooler friend, Mr. Demo, who has only one name, so I'll give it up for Mr. Demo.
Brandon, baby, Brandon. Just a little history on this. So they, once in a while, ask us for Hall of Fame, what do you think would be something that the students would get a kick out of? And, you know, I was like, damn, what would be really dope? And I was like, Ric's really dope. Ric got some really dope stories. And Ric got a really dope insight, which is it's a bit of a contrast from what my insight is on how to go about pursuing shit when you leave out of here. Because let's be honest, that's the real question. Like, what's gonna happen after this? And some of you in here are already on that next phase where you're in a career working towards something outside of this. And I gotta tell you, it's scary a little bit. But today, with the right questions from y'all, I'm gonna do some voodoo up here, and Ric is gonna go, pow.
We'll add the sound effect later, though. Don't worry about it.
Oh, trust me, when you watch this later, you're gonna be like, this is crazy. So what's up? What's something that, give me a concern. Something that you guys are thinking right now. Just somebody spit it out. What's a concern going into your career in life? Shoot it out. Okay, hold for the mic.
How difficult is it to find a job after Full Sail that's not freelancing?
It's not freelancing.
What's your viewpoint? What's your thought process? Do you think you're going to make it, or do you think it's going to be challenging?
Well, I already know that starting a freelance thing is going to be difficult. I attended that event the other day, and that's what I would love to do. But at the same time, there are a lot of companies I would like to get in with, and I wanted to know how difficult it can be to get your foot in the door with a big name company.
It's not a matter of being difficult or being easy. It's just a matter of finding the right opportunity. So how many times is it? Is it 5? Is it 6? Is it 10? Or is it 20? That's up to you. I'll tell you a quick story. So I had, about 10 years ago, I had a guy contact me and he wanted to intern for me. And I told him it was an unpaid internship. So essentially I would have help around the studio for free. And I said, you know, I'm not really interested right now. I appreciate the offer and all that stuff, because he was offering to do that. And I said, no, I'm too busy. And I said no to the kid. So he came back and asked me again a couple weeks later, is now a good time? I'm like, no, I'm kind of busy. He did this, I think, 6 or 7 times. He was calling me on the phone. The 8th time he emails me, and he's like, I'd really like to come out. I have family in the area. He's in Colorado. He's like, I'll fly out to Detroit on my dime. Just meet with me. So I told my producer, I'm like, dude, this kid is like driving me nuts. He won't get off my back. And my producer looked at me with his mouth. He's like, you're an idiot, Ric. This kid wants to be with you. You need to give him a chance. And I'm like, all right, fine. So I ended up bringing the kid in, and he ended up doing 2.5 internships with me. So he was there with me for 7 months. At the end of the 7-month internship, I was so blown away with this kid. I said, I've never done this before, but what would you like me to do? I'll put you anywhere I can and get you any connections. I think you're awesome. And he says, I want to go to Skywalker Ranch. All right, that's Lucas's company. That's where they make all the Star Wars films. To where I'm like, dude, I want to go to Skywalker Ranch. Like, the line starts right back here, right? But it just so happened that my first book, the blurb on the very top of the back of the book was from the lead sound designer at Lucasfilm. And I said, dude, I have never once ever done this. And this is probably the last time I'll ever do this, but I'll pull this card with this guy because he's high up there in the industry. And so I shot the guy an email and said, listen, you really need to get a hold of this kid and give him a chance. And I'll vouch for this kid and I'll put my name on this kid. The last 3 Star Wars films that you've seen, he had credits in those, amongst a whole bunch of other movies. The last one that just came out, episode 8, he's got his name is in the credits. This the same movie theater I took him to when he interned for me to watch movies and critique. So to wrap it up, how did he get to Skywalker? How did he get his name in the credits in the Star Wars movie?
Tell us, Rick.
Simple. He let me tell him no 8 times, but he still had the passion and the drive and the guts to ask me one more time. If 8 wasn't enough, he just said, that's it, I quit. He wouldn't be on the screen right now, but he's on the screen because he's like, I don't care. So to answer your question, it's like, how much drive do you got in you? Because it's going to take all of it.
That's a good question. So how
There
much
you go.
drive you got? Oh, it's my turn. Tag. I'm going to tell you something I do know. Shit is hard, man. Like, life is challenging sometimes. You know, you got to get in here. Some of y'all, this is the first time you've even gotten out into some real schooling. What I'm saying is they're putting you in the field. You're doing labs, doing all these crazy hours, putting all this time in. But, yo, this shit is scary when you start thinking about eventually these walls will collapse. And you'll have to remigrate into the world and do something amazing. That shit seems very hard. But I tell you what I do know is that reminding yourself that shit is difficult. This is hard. This is impossible. I mean, listen, she said difficult in that sentence like 6 times when she started it. Now let's fast forward over here to the gentleman that got fucking Star Wars, bro. Come on, Star Wars. It's difficult to get to that spot when you're using difficult as the main adjective to describe your life. Shit is not difficult. It's just challenging. Like, there's been times I ain't got no money. I ain't go around saying I'm broke. I just say I got a cash flow problem. You know what I'm saying? Like, it just hasn't materialized just yet. But this is the truth. Listen, to get to there, it's not difficult. Y'all think that was difficult? It wasn't really difficult. You just kept doing it all the time. How many of you remember last year when I was asking for a couple producers to sign up? Any of y'all remember that? Anybody in here? Well, last year I was looking for 5 producers. During that week, there was 500 contacts collected, people that wanted to know, I want to be a producer. I want to work with you. That makes sense. Out of that 500, only about 120 actually went and took the initiative of going into the Facebook and sending me a message. Here we go. You want to know what happened after that? Out of that, half of them just said, thank you. I appreciate you coming out and helping, which is fantastic. I appreciated that. Thank you for those that sent that. But the other half then were inquiring about whether this position was open, at which point I sent them to another email. So another step. That dropped from 70 to 30 people who I worked with for 4 or 5 days. And then because I'm demo and I do what I want, I went ghost for 6 weeks and didn't respond to nobody. Because you know why? Because I can do that. Because I got a life too. And it wasn't because I didn't want to help them. Just shit happens. But guess what happened when I went back to Wick? 6 weeks later, I looked off, and about the 2-week mark, all the emails fell off, except for one dude who hit me again 2 weeks later. I just want to let you know that this is what I'm doing. I'm working on this. I'm listening to what you did, Just an update. 2 weeks later, sent it to me again. Hey, listen, if you have any availability. So what did I do? I went back in there, looked at all his tracks, and said, let's talk. And that's it. The kid made $5,000 off 45 minutes of time. Why did he do that? How did he get to that spot? Thank you, young man. You get the prize of the day. If y'all didn't hear that, it's persistence. Write this shit down. Persistence. This is not a sprint. This shit is a marathon. You got to change the way you frame this, baby. You can't Usain Bolt this. It doesn't happen. Even when you look at what I've done, y'all look at it, you're like, oh yeah, he's pretty young. He did this shit pretty fast. That's a decade and a half. And I'm still working every day at it. There's no ease. This shit is just, you got to keep going. So persistence.
to point out what she was talking about, if I could jump in, dude, is like, well, actually what he pointed out is it's the mindset. It's your mindset. You cannot do anything without you thinking of it first, right? And I'll give you a good example. Who's got a phone real quick? All right. Let me see. Pull out the timer. Watch this. All right, go ahead and stop. There we go. All right, here, I want to do something. I want you guys to pay attention to what I'm about to ask you. I'm going to ask you to touch the top of your head. Don't do it just yet. Ready? When I tell you to, I want you to touch the top of your head and tell me how long it took before you touched the top of your head. Ready? Go. All right. Now, when did you touch the top of your head? What's that? No. You actually touched the top of your head about 20 seconds ago when I thought that I could get you to touch the top of your head. So then my thought materialized into your world and became something. You following me? You will never do anything, nothing, unless it's a thought first, unless it's subconscious work, right? So you don't think about your heartbeat, you don't think about your lungs, these sort of things, they happen automatically, right? But the processes in your life, which is in your body, which is your world, right? You can control everything in this world, right? And if you learn how to control this world, this is the rudder for this world. So if you can control the way you think, you can effectively change your life. If you want to become a Jedi Master, the trick is this. Your thoughts don't originate here first. They originate here first. When you develop in your mother's womb, your brain doesn't develop first. You're not a brain creature. You're a heart creature. Your heart develops, and then everything that makes up you is your heart trying to figure out how this place works. So it then begins and grows and expands. So essentially, our five senses are essentially like the periscope for the heart to see, hey, is what I really want happening, right? But the mind wants to be in control. So now you got a battle. And we live in a world where, foolishly, especially in the West, we all think that our world is happening here. So we think that that world is happening to us. But the reality is the world is happening through us. And once you realize that what you see is the result of what you've caused, then you can start to play the game. Because now, up until that point, you don't have your hand on the wheel of your ship. Up until that point, you're just letting the wind and the waves throw you around. But the moment you're like, oh, so if I can control this through this and get them to work at the same time, you become a guy with one name. Right?
Oh, girl, there's Madonna.
When he asked me to do this panel, he's like, do you want to do a panel? I said 2 words. Hell yeah. Do you know why? Because I want to be like Demo. I want to be around people like this, right? You are a result of the 5 people that you hang around with the most. Whether you believe it or not, I don't care. Whether you think you're a genius, I blah, blah, blah. Not the 5 people in your life that you like the most. The 5 people you are around the most, right? So think of it this way. If you got a toolbox and you got a bunch of metal tools in there, wrenches and stuff, if I take a giant magnet the size of a baseball and I stick it in that toolbox, what happens to those tools a week later when I pull them out? Whether they want it to be or not, those tools are now magnetic. When I hang around people like this, all right, and we get to hang out, we get to fellowship, boom, I'm going to walk away from our relationship this week, and there's going to be demos stuck on me, and I want Demo stuck on me. There are other people in my life, I don't want them near me. And some of them, unfortunately, sometimes they're family members.
They sure
Doesn't
are.
matter. You keep that stuff away. And I'll end it with this, and I'll toss it back to Demo. Back in the day, we had these magical things called cassette tapes, right? And cassette tapes were essentially magnetized metal that was glued to a piece of like plastic, right? Effectively. If you took your cassette tape and you left it near a speaker with a giant magnet, it would affect the cassette tape, which means the music wouldn't play properly. Your mind is a cassette tape. Keep it away from stuff that's going to affect it negatively. Be always, 100% of the time, in control of your mind. Because if you can control this, and remember, this works for this, not the other way around. This is supported by this, right? Or excuse me, this supports this. This is the periscope. This is the driver.
I'm going to deconstruct a lot of stuff because a lot of y'all are like, holy shit, this kid just went at me fast. See, that's why I'm in. You just
Well,
gotta
we
let
only
him-
had 40 minutes, so.
We let him go. We dial it back in for y'all. Listen, when you're at your best, right, what do you do? What do you do? Tell me what you do. What do you do? Like, what's your career? What are you here for? You want to become a mix engineer, right? And when you're mixing or practicing your mixing, when do you feel like you're really getting it going?
When hours go by, I don't even know it.
Hours go by, time lapse. Forgets that shit, the world is happening and shit is just flowing, right? What else happens? When you're mixing, the shit is just going. It's rolling, baby.
Sometimes I don't even eat.
You don't even eat. It's like, fuck eating. He needs to eat. Shit. This dude's a beast. He's going to get this whole thing. What else? What else happens?
It's pretty much it.
Life is great.
I don't even pay attention to anything else.
It's all good.
Just mixing.
Yo, now let me ask you something. You think he's thinking about that shit? Nah, G, he's from here. He's playing. He's in the music. He's in the art of it. See, when we're here in class and shit is really going, it's when you're really enjoying things, you're clicking, you're learning something new. That's getting into the spirit of it. That's what he means by going from your heart. Like, don't just do shit because it's about money, or I got to do this to do this, or this is what I think everybody thinks I should be doing. Do what the fuck you want to do. That's why you're here. Just do it with integrity to yourself. If you're an artist, don't try to sound like freaking Migos or whoever. I love those dudes, but we got the Migos. Somebody said to me, yo, I'm going to be the next Scorsese. I said, suck, I already got a Scorsese. You're robbing me. I don't want Scorsese. He's cool, but I want what you got. I want what you got. I've seen that already. That shit lives in anybody can see it now. You can see it from your phone right now. But look, peep this out right now. I want everybody to do this. Grab your finger right quick, just like this, like I'm about to do. And I want you to put it right in front of your face. Don't look at me, look at your finger. Everybody always does this. But I want you to look at your fingerprint. I want you to really study it, like you've seen, looking at this for the first time in your entire life. Like you have never seen this before. And I want you to pay attention to something I'm about to tell you. That fingerprint is the only one that there is and that there will ever will be. In the entire history of man and woman, there has never been and there will never be another one quite like it. That fingerprint is here to leave a mark. And that's what you got to do. Right, I can stop looking at your fingerprints now. y'all never gonna look at that finger the same again. You're gonna be like, oh shit.
Some of the guys over here were going cross-eyed,
right? But that's what I'm trying to tell you. Like, you're here to be you. That's what he means by being into the spirit of it. You got to do it with love. You can't just go up here and do shit just to do it. You got to do it for a reason. And that reason is because you want to contribute. Your art, your skill, your talent, your ability to produce things. We're all artists. We're all creators. That's what we're here to do. But you got to do it. And that's it. A lot of y'all stay here and hope. You hope that you're going to get an internship. Hope is a fucking fantastic thing. Golly, we got a president because of hope. At one point, not now. That's definitely, but whatever. Hope is a fantastic thing to have. But you got to hope less and do more. Hope is great, but hope less, do more. And then do more than that. Because when you start doing that and you string that shit together, you're fucking getting credits on Star Wars. Because somebody that you're working with is saying, yo, this person's killing it. Like, you got to make it so you're the only logical choice. So when they say, I got to hire this person, and I'm going to go out of my way to get them to do some incredible shit, you got to sell the story, baby. You got to sell it. And you sell it by what you put into it and what you believe in yourself. Which goes back to what he said. Man, listen, if you're surrounded by a bunch of jackasses, you know better start doing that jackass sound, whatever it does, a mule sound, because that's what happens. You hang around with a bunch of dummies, you end up being a dummy. You hang around a bunch of smart people, that shit rubs off. You might not become a genius, but I'll tell you, your thinking changes. And when your thinking changes, other things change. And then when other things change, before you know it, life is great. You got that job you want. You got some money in your pocket. Shit is fucking great. You all deserve that. So there's a lot to think about, but that's a lot to think about. Figure out what you want to do. Just pick something. Take money out of the equation and pick something. What you want to do, Reggie? Speak loud before the mic gets you. Come on, Reggie. You came to the show. You know I'm going to get you.
Initially, I thought I knew what I wanted to do, man, but I've been down this.
What was that?
When I came to Full Sail, I wanted to be an artist manager. Then I got an
Artist manager.
internship.
Okay.
So I worked for a booking agency, but the internship was this long. Then they got this long. Then they got this long.
But
So
what?
it's
tell
been a
us-
long
hold on.
internship. And
But tell us about this though. You're in there because we want to know. Fuck is there? We want to know what's going on in the internship. So things started dragging. How were they?
well,
going?
it's not really dragging. It's just what's. It depends. Like it's kind of like how do you look at success? You know what I'm saying? Like I've been on tour with Dirk. I've been on tour with Famous Dex. Like I route for Tekashi 6ix9ine right now. I route tours for everybody, but I'm doing it for someone else. Like I want to do it for me now. Like I'm at the point where it's like I've been under his shadow for as long as I can be under there. Like I learned everything that I can from him. I met a lot of people and I appreciate it.
Okay.
But now I need to get my artist and mold my artist and bring that artist up. So
Great. So who is that? Who's that?
I haven't found him yet.
Who the fuck is he? You looking for your artist? Let me know.
I mean, initially I was gonna work with my brother, but that didn't work out. Like family ain't always the way to go. Like he had a different point of view than me. He wasn't letting me handle the business. He wanted to be the artist and the business. He wasn't letting me take control.
Okay.
So I need that person.
But I'm sorry. How many artists are in the room right now that rap? Thank you. Okay, stop. I'll put down. Thank you very much.
Find him afterwards.
B, you're in a place where there's nothing but artists. You're looking for the perfect artist. I know you. You don't need the perfect artist. Find an artist and start developing them. You see, this is classic. He's in here, in his head, like, yo, I got to do this. I know him, so I can get at him a little bit. He's brilliant. He's going to do fantastic things because he's always working on himself. But it's the same thing. It's like, yo, you locked in on trying to create something great. It doesn't work like that, right? You got to fail in order to make this stuff happen. You got to go out there and have some bad projects to understand how to make a good project. And that's what happens. He's literally getting in his own way because he's sitting there doing this shit. Like, oh, fuck, I need to find this artist. But it's just like, yo, there's artists everywhere. But he's blinded. He's seeing this shit. There's artists everywhere. It's like, nah, I can't find the right artist. I guarantee you there's more than the right artist in this room and probably everywhere else. You rap, you sing? Yes, sir. Bet you could rap and sing, be dope. So, you got something else? Another question?
Nah, I ain't got another question.
I see you smiling. Is this, raise your hand, is this helping or am I just out here talking? Are we just doing this shit? Is this like working? Okay. So this young lady brought some up and this is, I think, very valuable and I thank her for bringing it up. And we're going to touch on this, which is, how much time we got, first of all? Give me a time check. Okay, so some of you have plan A's, which is what your current selection is on what you're going to do for graduation. But let's be honest, how many of you have a plan B, which is something else in a mother, because we need to diversify because we don't know what we're going to do. Okay, how many of you a couple in here probably got plan C's, D's, and E's. You got the whole alphabet in line. We're going to touch on something that I've noticed has been a constant theme. And I want to debunk this now, and I want you all to spread this very fast because this is very detrimental to the entire culture of what's going to happen outside of here. It's gotten to a point where these things look so good that you're getting to the point where a lot of you are not making any decisions. And especially by not making decisions or talking yourselves out of decisions, you're putting yourself in a dance that will leave you off balance and will make it very difficult for you to actually excel when you leave here. Because you'll always never be dedicated to something. Because you'll be stuck with one foot in, and then when shit gets bad, which is usually when you build character in that, since you have a backup plan, you pull out. So you never really get that shell that you need. That's crucial to when you start in any business. Even if you want to start your own business, you've got to learn to make decisions. And not putting shit off. And just deciding right there, you just say to yourself, listen, this is the best that I can do with what I know, and this is the best decision. I'm going to let Rick touch on it because I know Rick has a bunch of stories when it comes to how being indecisive will literally derail you. And you've noticed this too with some of like the actual, and I understand why, because I'm going to be honest with you, I was the same way. I was an RA grad, and halfway through the program, I was like, oh, I'm going to do digital media afterwards. And thank God my placement advisor came in and said, yo, I heard you're thinking about doing digital media. She's like, don't do it. If you do it, you're gonna kill all the momentum you've built up. And that decision just changed my entire life. But it was a decision, she made it, and I learned I had to make them. So, I know you've had plenty of experience where it's like we're indecisiveness, or maybe even you've seen it has been just derailing.
Yeah, decision, that's when you put your thought in action. That's when this drives this and then makes things happen. The word decision is actually the etymology, which means the original or the origin of the word, means to cut off. It means to pick one or the other. So in other words, you have two things in your hand. You can go one of two directions. In order for you to move anywhere, you have to cut off one of the choices, and then you can go head in the other direction. But if you're holding on to both at the same time, you're going to go nowhere. Going back to the mind and not going too deep into it, but your mind is programmed to keep you alive. That's its entire job. And so to keep you alive, it looks at where you're at right now and says, well, we're still alive right now. So if we do our best to keep the status quo and keep everything in our world the same, we have a better chance of staying alive. But if we make decisions and we start to change, we might end up in a spot that'll put us in danger, therefore we won't survive, right? That's why it's so hard to break a habit. If you're a smoker or you don't want to quit vaping or whatever, and you're having a hard time, it's because your body's like, you don't understand. When I got the chemicals going the way everything is, life is great, and when I don't, I freak out. Therefore, I feel like I'm in survival mode, so I'm always going to give you thoughts that are going to make you think that you should jump back in and start smoking. Does this make sense? So it's all about changing your mind. So repetition is the key. That's why monks will chant over and over and over again. Mm-hmm. Why do we talk out loud? Is it because God's deaf? If he's in heaven, that's a really far away. I don't think he's going to hear my audible voice. So why are we supposed to pray out loud? What's the purpose of saying or chanting things out loud? It's so that our ears can hear it, so that our mind, because our subconscious doesn't know what's going on. It needs a periscope. It doesn't understand. So when it hears things over and over again, it doesn't know where it's coming from. It just knows this is what I think. And once you drill that into your mind, you create a groove in the record, right? And once you got a new groove in the record, now you're playing a new song. Does this make sense? So what I do is a really simple thing. There's nothing magical about it, but I go out and I have jewelry and I have tattoos. And I have things that mean things to me. There's nothing magical about it, but every morning I grab this thing and I say a chant. I have a couple of things that I want to develop in my life, whatever they are. I'm going to make stuff up, but let's say I am patient, I am kind, I'm whatever the things that I want to work. I am, and I say it confidently, and I stand in front of the mirror, and I let myself know, I don't care what my current situation is. This is what it's going to be. I am patient, I am kind, I am successful, whatever. And I put it on, boom. And then at the end of the night, I take it off. And as I'm taking it off, I won't let go of it until I finish my chant. So you can chant over and over and over again and program your life. And I'll prove it to you this way. I had a really bad habit of automatically thinking negatively in any situation. Whatever would happen, I'd go, oh my God, worst case scenario could be this. And then I start panicking or whatever. So I was like, you know what? I'm going to gut this out of my mind. I'm done. I'm not going to be scared anymore. So how do I do this? I started chanting every morning. I focus on the positive. I focus on the positive. I did it like just a mindless person all day long. I was just chanting it. And I did this for probably a couple months. And anytime I would think negatively, I would literally go, I focus on the positive. And I would switch my thinking. Hour later, usually 5 seconds later, my hand would go, I'm focusing on the positive. And I tell you, man, I did this over and over for months. And here's how it worked. One day, driving down the road with my kid, he's sitting in the front seat, he's listening to music, and I'm just sitting there like this, and I caught myself thinking something negative. And I looked down and my hand was up.
You backslap your baby?
And I looked, I remember because my hand was up, and then my son looked at me like, what's going on? I was like, oh yeah, it's just,
he was thinking like, what the fuck,
I reprogrammed the second nature that appears to be me. I reprogrammed it to remind me when my mind went negative to focus on the positive, and I actually caught myself, the second self that is me, reminded the conscious me. Does that make sense? It's not voodoo magic. It's very simple. There's a reason why we said the Pledge of Allegiance every morning. We want to get this stuff in our heads, right? Everything you do and say repeatedly over and over again becomes your world. That's why when you go to class, you probably sit in the same seat or thereabouts. And you get very territorial when somebody sits in your section, or when somebody parks in the spot, or when you get to the apartment and you're like, God, why is this guy always in my spot? You're very territorial. Why? because your brain is lazy and it wants to survive. So any change you make to it threatens it. So it wants things to be over and over and over again. If you want to have a single name and be known for what you do, right, you have got to reprogram the way you think. You have to be not afraid to change the way you think. Because here's the thing, and I'll toss it back to you. The record will continue to skip until you pick up the needle and move it to a different track. It will never get better. It will always stay the same until you're like, you know what? I'm tired of this song. I am now going to be this. And that's how you change your mind.
I ain't got nothing. Y'all clap. That's it. See you that. No. I'll wrap it up. I'm not going to follow that. That's awesome. You got it. It's on video. You're cool. I will hold a couple things real quick just so we can, I know we got to wrap. How much time we got? 5 minutes, which really means 6, 7. No more.
Maybe 8, maybe 9.
That was really good. I was sitting there going,
I totally just made it
brain. That makes so much sense why that happens. Like, fuck. I don't usually curse this much, but I'm going to tell y'all something. I know some of this stuff to some of y'all is just like, that's like, woo, wah, wah. Like, I'm not going to sit in front of the mirror and be like, I'm happy. I'm happy. Like, that for some of you, it seems like this is a fucking joke. Is he really serious about this? Y'all can tell that I'm not like the average human being. I kind of toot my own damn horn in what I like to do in life. And I'm just like that. When something comes in my way, I'm like, I'm not doing that stupid shit. But I've learned that when nobody's around, you can pretty much do anything and it ain't really happen. So I like to try shit. And I did that when I was younger. I would sit in front of the mirror. I swear to y'all, this is how it was. I would sit in front of the mirror and I would look at it and I'd be like, I'm rich. I'm a millionaire. I'm rich. And at first I was just saying it just to say it. But then I just kept saying it. And then at one point I just started getting into it, like, I got so much money. I'm so rich. Sitting there, this is a toothbrush, right? I'm like, I'm so rich. And I'm like, oh man, this is amazing. My life is great. I got yachts and all this nonsense. I would just tell myself this shit. And it became a joke, but when shit was really bad, it actually was the only way that made sense. Like, when you got enough and you living off rice and shit, that's not cool. You know, when you're making $8,000 or $13,000 on your job, and I mean, you're getting paid $5, minimum wage is $8, you can't just be like, fuck you, boss. Like, that ain't gonna work. You gotta take what you get. And, sometimes when I had no money, I kept saying that. And I'm gonna tell you, I kept saying that. And then it got to a point where I fucking had no money. I mean, I felt like I wasn't homeless because I knew I would stay at my mama's house, but golly, I wish I was homeless at that point. I'm gonna live in my mama's house, I'm a grown man, what the hell? But no, that's what it was. And I just kept saying it. I kept saying it. And I swear to you, just one day, I looked around and I was like, fuck, I got a lot of money. Like, one day that shit I kept saying actually happened. And some people are like, yeah, I don't really believe in saying that stuff. Well, good. But I mean, if you're gonna say anything to yourself, doesn't it fucking make sense to say some shit that is at least better? Like, I'm powerful. I'm awesome. Like, people love me, or I'm a great person. Instead of going like, I'm not really worthy. I don't know if I could get this shit. I don't know if I'm ever gonna be good enough. Like, what the fuck? If you're doing it, you might as well switch it up and do it right. You know what I'm saying? You just gotta go and switch. That's what this whole thing is about. It's about what you believe in yourself. Because if you believe you're gonna do it, I'm sorry, you're going to do it. I'm sorry, I'm gonna apologize now. You're gonna have your dream. It could happen. The shit is difficult. There's no jobs. The fucking industries are going, the music is the best. They're like, iTunes has killed everything. No, it hasn't. What happens now is all the people that were making all the millions and quadrillions of dollars aren't allowed to rob all the people that weren't doing it. So that's all that's happened. The field has gotten played. And it's been even. This shit is a game changer. This is a cash register. This is your office. This is your creative output. This is where your marketplace is. Use this shit. When you sit at home, you're like, man, shit is bad. Shit could be a lot worse. Say, I'm still here. I'm still breathing. I'm gonna fucking knock this thing out the park. Because I tell you, the moment you hang it up, it's a wrap. Make a decision. Don't sit there and worry about this shit so much. Take money out of the equation. Be like, if I'm rich, because I promise you what, if you do what you love, you will become rich. And it might not be in millions of dollars. Y'all, some of y'all like, be rich in life. Money is a very small aspect of it. And when you all will get it at some point or another, you'll realize how insignificant it really is. It's just there just so we can do shit. If you got money, you're just more of who you are. If you're an asshole, you're going to be an asshole. If you're a good person, you're going to be a good person. Could extend what you can do. And you all can have it. If you change your mindset and say, oh, this is who I am. This is what I do. I'm great. I'm an artist. I contribute. I'm going to do amazing stuff. And then you just keep going. And boy, I tell you, there's only 56 Hall of Famers. There's not that many. There's a whole room for all of y'all right up there. And I got to tell you, it's nice up there. You get to hang out with really nice people. Man, I was chilling with Gary Rizzo, who's up for an Oscar. Dude does the Avengers. Like, I mean, that's not what he's going up for the Oscar for, but shit, I'm like sitting here going like, yo, I'm one step away from like Iron Man. You know, like doing Justice League. I'm like that close to Superman, you know? But it's nice, man. You all deserve that. So I applaud you all together. I want you all to stand up for one quick second. We're going to close up with this. I want you all to like grab hands. Come on, Rick, we're going to demo this. Grab hands and like close up the aisles here for a second. Like y'all in the middle, y'all close up. I want to show y'all something real quick. Just so y'all know, because someone kept asking me about networking. And I'm going to show you how networking and how life really works. So I want y'all to put your hands up like this. Everybody put your hands up like this. Wow, y'all follow really good instructions right now. Everybody put your hands down now. Put your hands down. All right, y'all can let go. Notice that when you put your hands up and you lifted somebody else up, you lifted yourself up. And notice when you put your hands down and you brought yourself down, you brought somebody else down. We're all interconnected. This is what networking is. It's being interconnected. Finding out how you can add value to the person next to you. How can I add value to him and him add value to me and us do it in a way that moves us forward? If at any point in the process you come across somebody where you can tell there isn't that balance, then that's not the network for you. That's the great thing. You can go to any network because you got the power. And that's a good thing. Appreciate y'all. Thank you. Thank you, brother. Appreciate you.
Thank you guys for coming. And thanks, Rick and Demo. Great job, guys.
Thank you.